All right, so remember that one of the definitions of the dot product is u dot v is the magnitude of u times the magnitude of v times the cosine of the angle between the two vectors. Now, notice this right-hand side, this is going to be 0. We're assuming that u and v are not zero vectors. They have a magnitude, a length. So these two quantities are not 0. The only way the dot product is going to equal 0 is if cosine theta is 0. Now remember the graph of cosine. This right here is 90 degrees. So if the angle between two vectors is 90 degrees, in other words, if they're perpendicular, the dot of two vectors is going to equal 0. So let's show that these two vectors are perpendicular. So if we dot them, u dot v, you have 4 times 3 plus negative 3 times 4. 12 plus negative 12 is equal to 0. So these two vectors are indeed perpendicular. We could visually see that. 3, 4 over 3 up 4, and 4 negative 3, we can kind of see that those two vectors are indeed perpendicular. But you can't just do a visual. That just looking at it isn't good enough, because maybe it's just off a little bit. It might look perpendicular, but you need to do this calculation to truly verify that two vectors are perpendicular. And again, what do? The dot of two vectors is 0. If it's 0, then the two vectors are perpendicular.